So thank you everyone for joining us for the very first week of us having the beautiful Adelina as part of the Women's Collective. So I first wanted to just share a bit about how I came to know Adelina and what the role has been that she's played in my life for the past 6 months. So when I started this business and this journey, I knew that I wasn't in alignment and that I had a bad energy and I had a lot of work to do, a lot of inner work. And my friend Beck that introduced me, I knew that she'd done a lot of inner work and I saw the transformation in her. And I remember going to Adelina and in our first session and saying I just don't want to start anything in this energy because I just feel like I would repel people and I'm just anxious and I was so up here with my franticness. So I sort of wanted to just work through some blockages and really start to trust myself and ground myself and, in Adelina's beautiful words, step into step into my sovereign being and actually start to trust myself as the vehicle to all of my goals. So we went through a lot of blockages, a lot to do with my family, my background, my upbringing, and just limiting thoughts and beliefs, really limiting thoughts and beliefs, and patterns which you don't really realize you have until you really stare them in the face and decide to, knock them in the head. So I'm just going to, yes, darling. As I said, I've got my son with me today. I'm going to give him a little biscuit. So what we want to do with these sessions is allow you to have access to Adelina, who is a spiritual coach, and she has helped so many people, not only in this business, but it's not really about the business, the work that you do, it's all the inner work. But also to be able to interact, ask questions. We'll do a different topic every week and really give you guys the guidance that you might need to break through in certain areas and really start to trust yourself and get to know yourself and really empower you guys to have that confidence. So the Women's Collective has been set up exactly for that reason, to empower women. So, we stand for freedom and for women being real, raw, honest, and just standing in their integrity and standing in their power. So the Adelina is just such a beautiful partner to have in this and everything that we stand for. And I think, we'll see how we go with questions and whatnot, but I think that during the week we'll probably know the areas that we want to focus on each week. And Adelina, you're very good at reading energies and people and stuff, so would love to get your thoughts each week as well on what sort of needs to be focused on. But that's enough from me. I'm really excited for this. I'm excited for the self-expression and the potential and the greatness that we're bringing out in people and showing everyone that this is just a safe space to be real, raw, yourself, and really step into your power. So with that said, I'm going to pass it over to Adelina. I absolutely adore you. Thank you so much for coming on. To just hand the mic over to you so that you can share what it is that, a bit about your background, what you love, and what you'd love to be sharing with us today. I'm just going to unmute you. Cool.
Perfect. Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be on this call and to witness the growth and the expansion and the freedom of expression from now compared to 6-7 months ago. It's on a whole nother level. So I'm really honoring your journey and your consistency in showing up for yourself, because that's really what it's all about. Things don't change unless we show up for that change. And without that, it doesn't happen at all. So in that aspect, I really, really, really honor you so fully, completely. And I honor this space. I've been really tuning into all of you beautiful women for the past week, 2 weeks, and just feeling the epicness of what's evolving here. And so happy and excited to be a part of this journey, whatever it opens as we move along. So what kind of space do I hold? It's such a great question. I used to tune into like what kind of work that I do, and I don't even think that it's work anymore. It's more about it's like holding a space, holding a specific vibration or frequency that allows people to be vulnerable, and allows people to speak their truth and to be really raw in their sharing, and to really open up their hearts and get honest, get really humble and get really honest with what it is they want for their life, what it is they're yearning for, what it is they're desiring, what it is that they're wanting to change, and then getting even more humble and more honest on how they're actually not in integrity with what their truth is and what they're wanting their life to be aligned with. And I think that this is the jewels or the gems of the space that I hold. And how we do that, how we open up that portal or that gateway to that deep inner healing, is through prayer, for sure. Prayer in terms of communing with yourself and with spirit, whatever that is to you. With meditation, how can you become more present with your life? How can you become more silent in your mind? And how can you become more aware of your body and what it's trying to speak to you? And what is it that is holding us back? And usually what's holding us back has been present for a very, very long time. And so I like to look at our root system, which is our ancestry line. And what is it in our root system? What traits did we acquire? What patterns did we learn? What limiting belief systems did we establish as our genetic coding, our genetic makeup? And how can we look at them? How can we see where we're actually still playing in that game? And where can we start to make the changes in that? And there's a lot of healing in that space, a lot of healing, a lot of forgiveness, a lot of letting go of resentment and anger and guilt and shame. Our traumas are such a gateway for us to really move into our life's work and our life's passion. What I usually find is that whatever we've been through, that gateway, whatever healing gateway we had to walk through, ends up being what we teach and ends up being the spaces that we hold. And so whatever hardships that we've gone through, I always like to look at them as opportunities. They're opportunities to heal. And then in that healing process, we're able to hold space for others that are going through similar healing processes. So that comes back to another portion of the work, which is self-love and self-respect and self-authenticity and integrity. And where are we not in alignment with love within ourselves? And where can we be more compassionate with our journey? And life is hard. It's not easy. Being incarnated in these human bodies has its challenges, whether it's families or relationships or friendships, or just, look at just on a whole spectrum of our world and all the troubles and tribulations. So it's where can we take everything moment by moment, and then how can we embody those changes? So it's like kind of looking at our past, healing from that space, and then embodying that change. And I really take things in this 3-step process. Sometimes it's 4 or 5 steps, but for the most part, it's this 3-step process of how can we look at where we've come from, heal what we need to heal, get more silent in our hearts, and feel more compassion, and then embody that change out in the world so that we are able to live the life that we want to live and deserve to live ultimately. Yeah.
That's awesome. And self-love is, I think I didn't mention this on this Zoom, but I had mentioned it on the Facebook Live before, that today is International Women's Day. And you and I had no idea when we booked it that it was International Women's Day. We just booked this session for next Friday, right? So talk about divine alignment there, right? When you say self-love, that is such a theme when I think about International Women's Day and what needs to be spoken about. Self-love is such a big part of that, because it's about, like loving yourself, but also knowing and loving the traits and the inequalities and the greatness that you have inside you that maybe you've self-sabotaged or you've squashed a little bit, or that you haven't allowed out. And that's what I've seen a lot lately, just in the conversations that we've had since the launch. Women going, I know it's my time to step up, I just don't know how, or I know it's my time to step into my greatness, I just, I'm fearful of it, or I just don't know how, or there's something holding me back. And I actually wrote a post on this morning that, and this is men too. Men often have those hang-ups as well. But I feel as women, we're so humble and we're so, I'll just stay in my little box. Like, I don't need to be great. I don't need to, I'm happy, things are good. But really, there is nothing more horrible in life than potential gathering dust. Like potential sitting there gathering dust and not making its way out. So something that you have really helped me with, and that I, say to myself, before I go live on here, or before I do something that, scares the shit out of me, I tell myself that I'm stepping into my sovereign being. And that gives me strength. And I'm like, yes, I can do this. It gives me the strength and the power. And you and I have like gone through a lot, and, really pinpointed a lot of the limiting beliefs and the belief patterns and thought patterns that I had around things that would hold me back, or, focusing on where things that didn't happen in my life and focusing on the negative rather than the positive. So I'd love to hear from you, like in terms of, because I'm sure you, from all of your clients, I'm sure a lot of them, the majority of them are women. What is the main pattern or like behavior around limiting beliefs and fear? Like, what is it that is holding us back? Is there something, is it very individual for each person, or is there something that you've seen, like particularly in women, that we kind of could, dive into a little bit deeper in this session and really look at?
Okay. Yeah. So what I feel, am I unmuted? Yes? Good? Okay. So it's interesting that you bring up, you kind of brought up a lot of stuff. So I want to make sure that I get to it all. I'm just going to write just a few words to make sure. You said the how, you said fear, limiting beliefs, and about greatness, right? And it's interesting that you talked about greatness. So it's almost so ironic that we changed the Facebook Live to the Zoom, because you probably wouldn't have said that piece about greatness. And I've been meditating. I've been reading this book. I don't know if anybody knows this book, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, by Wayne Dwyer, who's absolutely incredible. And he basically takes apart like the Tate Ching or whatever, and verse by verse. And I opened up this book on Monday, and I've been in this theme. Actually, Sunday we went to church with my family. It was Sunday, and I've been in this theme. And right before this call, I said, I'm gonna go get this theme. I feel like I might read it. We'll just see. I'll keep it to the side. And it's one of the most important verses in the whole book, called "Living from Greatness." I kid you not. So, living from greatness. And I think it's a pretty intense verse. So in this book, if anybody ever wants to get it, we'll include it in the link or something. It's an amazing book. And it's about the Tao or the Tao, like however you want to speak the word. But this particular verse, I randomly opened to this page on Sunday. And I usually pick one verse a week, because this book's so intense. Each verse you could study a month on. So I think I'm going to open reading this verse and kind of riffing off of that and journeying off of that, because I just can't believe that you brought that in. Yeah. So the 25th verse, living from greatness. There was something formless and perfect. It is serene, empty, solitary, and unchanging, infinite, eternally present. It is the mother of the universe, for better For lack of a better name, I call it the Tao. I call it great. Great is boundless. Boundless is eternally flowing, ever flowing. It is constantly returning. Therefore, the way is great. Heaven is great. Earth is great. People are great. Thus, to know humanity, understand earth. To know earth, understand heaven. To know heaven, understand the way. To know the way, understand the great within yourself. And it's like I said, you might have to reread this a million times because I've had to. But what I've really brought, or what I'm bringing in from this piece, is that we need to trust in our own greatness. We really need to trust in our own greatness and stop looking for beliefs that contradict that we are amazing. Stop looking for the easy way out. Honestly, self-sabotage, criticism, judgment, old limiting belief patterns, they are the easy way out because they're what we know. They're old habits that don't serve, that feel comfortable in every way. And so honestly, we, as much as we want to look outside of ourselves for confirmation and appreciation and adoration, we've got to start appreciating ourselves, adoring ourselves, loving ourselves. And there's millions of practices to do this. I mean, small practices could be looking in the mirror every day and make sure to say, I love you, I honor you, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for blessing like the earth with your presence and your gifts every single day. It could be doing yoga or having a nice breast massage or going out and allowing the sun to kiss your forehead and giving gratitude for just being alive. And I just feel this greatness cannot be found in any teacher or any classroom or any workshop. It can't be found anywhere. It has to be found from within yourself. And it comes to a choice. It's an actual choice. Our life is empowered by choices, and we are the only one that can make those choices. So if we continue to choose to look for beliefs that contradict that we are not amazing, or that we are not great, or we don't have the potential to grow anything we put our mind to, we will receive exactly that. Shortcomings from our viewpoints. And we'll continue to say, I've been trying to. It comes back to how much do you love yourself? How much do you really see the greatness in yourself? And when are you going to choose to live from that greatness rather than choosing to live in the crux of comparison and in the limiting belief patterns of self-sabotage and like being your worst inner, like being your own inner critic. Yeah, so I think it starts there. We can keep drifting off of that, but I just wanted to bring that whole piece in to go alongside with you. We have to stop looking for the ways out of living up to our greatness, because really living up to our greatness means that we have to show up, and that is terrifying and uncomfortable because we have to choose a different way. And a different way always feels uncomfortable at first until we start living that way and new patterns start creating, and the patterns surround self-love, and that fullness is the greatness, and that greatness is a connection to spirit, to source, to all things beautiful. Yeah, so we'll start there.
I love that. And I just want to invite everyone to use the chat box if they want to ask questions or add on to anything, because what you said there, I think a lot of people will relate to. And if you're watching the replay, we'd love to see your feedback, like as a comment on. Sorry. I'd love to see your feedback below as well. But yeah, like with, something that you said there, it's uncomfortable, and, often we put it off, or we make excuses, or we self-sabotage because we know that making a change is going to go against the grain of what our subconscious tells us, which is stay with what you know, stay with what's comfortable, and stay with what you've done before, because there's the fear of the unknown, or the fear of, stepping out into something that you've not done before. Like, and it is, it's like, it's bloody, like, it's very scary to do that, but it is, but like, that's what, and you've definitely helped me with this, is like, fear is false evidence appearing real. It's like us coming up with this scenario in our head that something's going to happen, or that someone's going to think a certain thing, or that this certain scenario is going to play out that hasn't even happened yet. It's just our own minds, like, going off on a little tangent and imagining that something could, come out from it. So another, I think, it's self-sabotage and holding ourselves back from greatness, and sometimes, needing to just find the courage to step into our greatness. But I think another really big thing is for us to learn healthy boundaries and how to actually deal with fear. Mm-hmm. So, fear is not a bad thing, which you really challenged me once and said, well, what are the good things that have come from your fear? And I can't remember what we were actually talking about, but one of the good things was this business. Like, I wouldn't have done, or, I wouldn't have met you, I wouldn't have done all the inner work if I didn't have fear that I was going to fail in my last business. So a lot of good can come from fear, but when fear is not serving us, and when it's just pure, negative anxiety, us just coming up with certain scenarios that are not relevant, do you have any advice on like what we could do to, look at that fear and go, is that actually realistic, or is it something that I need to just like acknowledge and then step through?
Okay. I'm just writing a few things. Okay, so we are so synchronizing right now, because before you said anything, I wrote down boundaries and I circled it, and then about 30 seconds later, you say, "Oh, it's about boundaries."
Oh my God, I love that.
This call.
So good.
This call was definitely meant to be rerouted.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. So I also do want to excuse, I am at the end of a flu. So if anyone's wondering, my voice is really scratchy because I am at the end of a cold. So I apologize about that for anyone listening. I was thinking about it as you were talking. So fear, man, it is such a deep wound. It's not even a wound. It's such a powerful emotion. It can really take over. Fear for me, when I have experienced it completely out of harmony, completely out of balance and non-alignment, has thrown me down deep into that rabbit hole of depression and anxiety and panic and self-destruction. From my personal experience, when fear is out of balance, it goes down the rabbit hole into that direction. And then we've got to find our way out. And that takes some time. And sometimes we have to go down the rabbit hole, so to speak. We've got to hit some sort of rock bottom awakening where it's just spirits like almost guides you to get on your knees and start to pray for a different way. And sometimes it takes life bringing us to our knees in prayer for a different way. And that is a very humbling experience. So I'm not going to knock that aspect of fear and the rabbit hole, the downward spiral that it can take you to, because sometimes we need that to bring us to a different way, a different alignment. Now, it doesn't always experience to go that way either, which is why I like to really give tools. I'm so big on tools, and I'm so big on embodiment, because nothing will change unless we actually make physical changes, like physical choices in our real-time life. We can affirmation all day, but how I look at affirmations is it's something that I can see to remind me. An affirmation is a reminder of making the physical changes, the physical embodiments, and the steps to be able to live that affirmation out. An affirmation is not to just, I am whole, I am truth, I am free of fear. yes, that's great. You're saying it, but like, how are you embodying that? So I look at affirmations as reminders of like, oh, these are the things that I'm trying to live by. These are the areas of my life that I'm wanting to improve. And now what steps am I actually taking to do those things and make that direction? So if you're feeling fear, which is just a lack of love, lack of presence, lack of calmness in your heart and in your spirit, it's like, what move you out of that downward spiral, which can happen every day if you allow it. It could happen every hour if you allow it. That's why people go in. I mean, I've had anxiety and panic attacks where they've lasted downward spirals for months at a time in my life. Maybe that's why I hold these spaces now, because I know what it's like to go down that route. And it's not fun. It's not pleasant. And fear when you allow the emotion of fear to take over, it's like you can't see clearly because your heart isn't clear. Your mind isn't clear. You're not sitting in the seat of compassion and love for yourself. And you're allowing the overwhelm of life to take precedent so that you can actually feel your body. You're just spiraling in your thoughts, and your thoughts are just fragmentations of parts of your soul that have left from trauma in your childhood. So it's all connected. So going in that space, it's like, what steps can we take? And I like to look at it like, what things do you enjoy? It's not about a whole list of to-dos, because that creates what? More anxiety most of the time, because we can't get to all of it, because we want to put 10 things on our plate instead of 1 or 2 things that we enjoy doing and that we can be consistent in it. And this is where boundaries come in, really. Boundaries for ourselves. We can talk about boundaries outside ourselves, but I almost feel like this call really can be focused on where can we take ownership of our life, and where can we really take responsibility of where we're not showing up in the ways that we say we want. We say we want X, Y, Z, but we're doing A, B, C. So where are we out of alignment? Where are we out of integrity? Where are we lying to ourselves? Where can we humbly look ourselves in the mirror and say, wow, I'm saying one thing and I'm doing a whole other thing. Okay, I'm going to own that. I'm going to own that lack of integrity, and I'm going to do something about it. And how we do something about it is looking at what lights our soul up. What makes us happy? What do we enjoy doing that brings nourishment and replenishment to our being? And this could be dancing or singing or making music or doing yoga, being in nature, self-pleasure, being with our families. Art, drawing, things like this. I'm just naming whatever's coming to mind first. Everyone has their own thing. And I think it's about tapping into not a list of to-dos, but what can you commit to daily to keep you in your femininity and in your artistry that allows for the freedom of self-expression, that centers our being into love, which is our feminine nature, love. So what steps can we take daily? What can we commit to daily? Not a bunch. I'm just maybe even inviting everyone to write down 3 things. Just that's it. 3 things for now. Because once you master those 3 things for a month or 2 months, then you can add on something else. So this could be 3 things that you're really wanting. Maybe learn a new instrument or a new language, something like this. Or it could be 3 things that you really enjoy that you would love to make more of a practice out of. So morning gratitudes or writing in your journal, something like this. So I want to invite everyone in this group to pick 3 things that you enjoy or that you want to work towards, something that really interests you that you've been saying for a long time. Oh, I would love to learn that or do that. It's like, let's start now and let's practice every single day doing those 3 things. If you only got an hour, you spend 20 minutes in each of those things. At least you are doing it. And it's going to make a change in your life because it's going to remove the fear. It's going to bring in the love. You're creating boundaries, which are consistent commitment, really having clear boundaries with yourself. How can I be disciplined in my life to work towards the things that I'm really calling in for myself? And I find that it really makes a difference if you choose things that you love and you allow that expansiveness and self-expression and exploration to coming closer to your heart.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I am so passionate about this topic that I actually want to give a few examples. So everything that you said just then, Terry's laughing again. Everything you've just said then, I have put into practice daily. And there's certain things that I do that have come up through from obviously months of sessions and different things that we've spoken about in terms of boundaries, anxiety, and fear. And so one of them is, I think and I feel like a lot of people will relate to this, we got to the bottom of the fact that I had a lot of anxiety around time, and I was trying to do so many things and, cram a million different things, all my different hats, mum, professional, business owner, sister, wife, like all these things. I was just trying to be like 10 out of 10 in all of them. But what we realized, and I was very overwhelmed when I came to you about this, is you said to me, and this is what I made the affirmation around, that you have all the time for everything that is meaningful and important to you. And that's what I have that come up still in my phone. It comes up twice a day. I say it to myself all the bloody time. I say, I have enough time for all that is important and meaningful to me. And no matter what situation I'm in, there's different priorities. When I'm at work, my priority is work. When I'm working on my soul business, that is my priority. When I'm with Tio, he is my priority. When I'm having, a beautiful dinner with Vic, then he is my priority and he's my focus. So that one daily practice made such a huge difference, and it's allowed me to breathe. It's allowed me to just soften, breathe, and go, actually, I do have enough time. And then the other thing, I wrote them down as you were saying that. A few other things, but another one that I feel the women in this tribe would really relate to is around boundaries, is saying no. Like, say no when you need to say no, and know that it's okay. Like, I was just so anxious, I think, because I was saying yes to things all the time to please people or out of obligation, but it's okay to say no. So I'm not going to waffle on because we've only got 4 more minutes remaining on this Zoom link. But I'm going to hand it over to you, lovely Adelina, to finish off. And I think we can, there's so much that we've managed to cover in such a short amount of time that I'd love to hear feedback and comments on the recording here in the group on what did you love, what do you want to go into maybe a little bit deeper next week, or, I'd love to hear from everyone what they took out from this, and if they have any questions for you next week, next month as well.
Perfect. So, I'm not on mute, right? I don't think
no.
so. Okay. So I really just want to speak really quick. You just put into practice exactly what I said about the affirmations. It's like the affirmation is about time, and you're using it in the perfect way. We are so on the same space of that. Like, the affirmation is the reminder to be the embodiment of what? Of presence.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what I feel like we can utilize the power of affirmations in that way, where it's like we see the affirmations, we receive the affirmations into our being, and then we remind ourselves through the affirmation, then we embody it. That's just like the epitome, I feel, of what the power of them is. So just to mark on that, I really appreciate that reflection. And then in terms of boundaries, it's like, yeah, we have the right to create clear boundaries. Actually, it's necessary to create clear boundaries with our time, our love, our energy, our presence. And the more that we can stay in alignment with what is our yes in our body, what is our no, what do we actually have the capacity to hold space for, the more that we check in with ourselves. It's daily check-ins, right? Sometimes hourly, sometimes minute by minute, we need to check in of like, is this in alignment? Is this in alignment? Is this in alignment? And whatever it feels like such a yes is the direction that you go in. And there may be some things that come up that are harder than others. And there may be some things that, like, okay, I do have a boundary around this. And of course, there's going to be situations. Everything's situational. But where can we at least start the practice of listening to our bodies, listening to our beings? And where can we start the practice of saying the yeses from our heart and saying the nos from our womb? Where can we start hearing what is so finely attuned to our wisdom? Like, especially as women, we have so much wisdom in our bones, in our blood, in our beings, and in our hearts. And the more that we can listen to that, the easier it's going to get for us to hear our no, hear our yes, and speak it with such authenticity and integrity and love and compassion all at the same time. And we can definitely speak more about this if this is like a big topic. I feel like that's a real great small paraphrase of how I feel about boundaries, and we can definitely speak more on a different call for sure.
Thank you so much, Adelina. You are an absolute queen. Oh, Tio's again sending you big kisses. He's blowing kisses. Thank you so much. That was incredible. I'm going to post the recording up. Guys, please comment below. We'd love to hear what you took from that and what you want from next week. This is so exciting. Monthly soul sessions. Bring it on, the next one. Thank you so much for sharing International Women's Day with us. Yes. Thank you. Bye. Have a wonderful day, ladies.